Hello everybody, and welcome to Wonderfully Hopeless Colors. We are going to continue working in Seasons by Hanna Karlzon on our Bright Summer Nights page. I'm working on the Bleeding Hearts. We're using the Schpirer Farben pencils, and we have Rose, which is 280. We have Carnation, which is 260. And we have There's No Place Like Home, which is 255. So it is Thursday night. Today was the first day with students in the classroom. It was a very busy, very exhausting day. But it was a good day, and that's important. So I am glad it's over. I am not in any way, shape, or form ready for next week. I have a basic plan for tomorrow, and I am okay with that. We did a variety of things today. So several of the classes did STEM activities. So like the core science classes start the year every year with a STEM activity, and I have one for each of the core classes that I like to do. And then I do different things with the different classes, and it really depends on the group of students. So forensic science was a little bit more chill. I had multiple students who were planning on dropping the class. They wanted to take something else, so they likely will drop tomorrow or Monday. They have to get parental consent to drop the course. And then I had a few who their schedule was messed up and they weren't going to be taking my course. And I had a few that were absent. So I didn't really want to start anything major with all that upheaval. And I really have no plans to start anything in any of my classes major because of all the schedule changes that happen in the first few days, which is frustrating for the kids to some extent. They're not complaining about not having work or anything, but they get bored after the first day of, all right, well, the teachers don't really want to start a ton because all the class changes and move arounds and all that stuff is going on, and it is confusing, and kids are in and out of the classroom, and they're talking to the counselor, and they're doing all that stuff. And I don't blame the kids. Sometimes they're in a class because their schedule got messed up, or because that's the only thing that they can take, or any number of reasons. And maybe you don't want 3 classes, and yes, I have a few kiddos that have me for 3 periods a day. Maybe that's not your jam. You don't want that many science classes, or you thought you wanted to take something and you realized that it's going to be way more work than you want to do, like human anatomy. They all think that's going to be a load of fun, and when they find out that that's a load of work, that they're sometimes less enthusiastic. And so my non-core classes are a little bit more relaxed the first few days. So we won't really start content until Monday. That gives them time and me time, and I mean, that's the way most teachers are anyway. It's like, no, we're not going to start content until we're sure who's going to be in the class. Because it gets a little crazy. So tomorrow I'll do the normal basics of, you know, what are my expectations? This is where you can find the syllabus. Can you get into Google Classroom? For the ones that were using some of the online textbook resources, we may look at that, but since some of the kids don't have their computers yet and don't have, the new students don't have, I hate when the kids who aren't to that step yet just sit there and do nothing. And then when I'm ready to start content, they're behind because they don't have all this stuff set up. So experience has taught me that the best thing to do is to wait a few days. We'll do lab safety. They all know lab safety at this point, so we'll go over it. Some of the classes will spend a few days doing posters and stuff. I spend more time on the younger grades, keeping in mind I teach high school, so you know there's not a ton of younger grades, but it's the first year the freshmen have had me, so they will take notes on lab safety, and they will do a lab safety poster, and they'll do some different lab safety exercises. And for them, it's the first time seeing my lab safety quiz. Whereas all the rest of the kids, they've had the lab safety lecture. They know what lab safety is. They know what my expectations are. So for the upperclassmen, yeah, I am just letting them chill and find interesting things. Answer some of their questions about different things that they have questions about. So we have new policies this year, and so they needed to vent because they were upset about some things, and then there was just some other general stuff that has to get done. So it's interesting. Like I said, it was a busy day, but it was a good day. And this is where there's a benefit to being a veteran teacher. When I first started teaching, I would be working all night tonight to make sure everything is perfect for tomorrow. I don't get paid for all that, and as much as everybody thinks that teaching is an easy job, it is exhausting, and I have learned that it's just not worth it to try and kill myself and drive myself insane over it. All right, I think these little parts are going to be yellow because that's kind of what color, if I remember right, and I could look up a picture, but yeah, I'm not gonna bother. I like bleeding parts. I have them in my garden, so we're just gonna go, and to be honest, it's my coloring page, so you know, I'm gonna do what I want. I'm gonna go with yellow. So I sillily closed my swatch book yesterday, and so now I gotta find the right yellows. So I think we're gonna go, I'm thinking vanilla flower. I'm not gonna try and put multiple yellows in there. I'm just gonna go with vanilla flower, which is, what number was that? 90. 90, 90, 90. Where are you? No, sorry, 80. I'm losing my mind. That's all right. Okay. Actually, I am going to pull one more yellow. I think I'm going to pull Bumblebee, which is 50. Need to sharpen that one. Now the problem is going to be, where do I go next? I am not entirely sure what those bugs are, so I don't know what I'm going to do with those. They look more like flies to me than anything else, and I'm not coloring a fly. So we're going to make them some sort of bug, but I don't know what yet. So I'm stalling on the bugs. I might do some of the leaves because why not? Because I'm not feeling the bugs, and leaves seems like a good thing to do next, because I'm not sure what color I want to do the other flowers. So and I really should be coloring on some of my other projects, but I wanted to work on this one. I'm not overcomplicating my life with this coloring page, and that's what I needed tonight. So my husband is a D&D. I really should be working on my cross stitch again, but I haven't done that. It's 7 o'clock. I'm probably not going to do that tonight. This is the problem with cross stitch and brain power. I am pretty well not wanting to process at this point. Teacher tired is a thing for a reason. I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I was at work by 6:15. And I had to make sure I had everything ready for students when they walked in the classroom at 8. And then I basically didn't stop moving or doing until I left. There was, I mean, you're just problem solving one problem after another. That's especially the first few days. Kids don't have technology, their schedules are messed up, they can't get into their lockers, they're in the wrong class. It's just a never-ending, something is always needing to be dealt with. You know, and the kids are excited to be back. They want to, you know how your summer went. They want to tell you how their summer went. And I get some of that done on the first day, but we'll undoubtedly be talking about it again tomorrow. And that's just kind of how that goes. All right, let's make sure you guys can see, because I can't see what you can see. I am going to move the camera ever so slightly. I am sorry, but I have limited desk space. We're going to work on this leaf right there, because it looks vaguely like that's part of the bleeding heart. So, before my bleeding heart turned kind of yellow, because it's sun-baked now that it's August, and while they do full sun, they're not loving full sun in August. So there is that. What green do I want to use? Let's do Lexi, it is not storming outside. My giant Great Dane does not do bad weather. And by bad weather, I mean any type of weather. And they are calling for storms here. So she is not a happy puppy. And by not a happy puppy, that would be an understatement. She is debating whether she's going to try and climb under my desk right now. And she's a Great Dane. So Great Dane under my desk would be a bad thing. But she's thinking about it. So she's making coloring a little difficult. All right, we're gonna go for, I haven't even tried these, we're just gonna wing it. Green, which is 520, moss green, which is 510, and cypress tree, which is 590. And they pretty much all need to be sharpened. So I have everything printed for tomorrow. I am at least ready that far. And then Monday, I am not ready for yet. I will be ready by the end of the weekend for all of next week. And normally I would have been ready much earlier than that. However, it's been a summer, and I wouldn't necessarily say it's been a good summer. It's been a summer. So that means I have not had as much time, and I have, you know, lesson plans from years previous. It's not like I don't have. I can play the easy card, and I can just pull lessons from last year. I really don't want to do that. I have some ideas of new things I want to do. So, but it's going to depend on how tomorrow goes, because like I said, I tend to not bring a ton of work home. It's not fair to me. It's not fair to my husband. It is, you know, it's just not practical. And it's something that I've made the conscious decision, for the most part, work stays at work. And I don't typically check my emails from work. Is that the nicest thing? No. Is that stressful for other people? Probably. But I have to set boundaries. It's something in education that not enough people talk about and do. And I'm not saying I never take work home, but I try very hard not to take work home, and I try to set expectations with my students that I'm not going to take work home. So I will do my very best to help them, but I'm not going to bring all of their papers home, so they're not going to be graded the next day. I have them graded pretty quickly. I'm pretty good about answering their emails in the morning, but I'm not going to be that teacher. So it's worked. Most of the students are pretty good with it. I don't have a lot of problems. I'm pretty lucky. This school is pretty amazing. The kids are pretty awesome. That doesn't mean it's not challenging some days. It just means that overall, I'm pretty happy where I am and what I do. And I typically think my kids are pretty awesome. And then I'm pretty lucky. So I do have papers sitting there to grade, but hopefully I can sit down during my plan tomorrow and actually get grading done. I can also do grading and planning while the kids are working on assignments, which is what I typically do. It's not ideal, but the reality is there's not enough hours in the day to get everything done. And you have to pick a balance. So I am pretty realistic that I have to have a balance, and sometimes that's hard. But such is life, and the kids hate when you say that. They hate hearing that life's not fair and they're just going to have to get over it. That is not their favorite thing. I mean, I understand it's not fun when life isn't fair. I totally get it. Life is regularly not fair, and I want to stomp my feet and complain that that's not fair and it should be fair. Doesn't do me any good, but and I teach high school kids, so they're starting to learn that life just isn't always fair. And sometimes in education, I think we do the kids a disservice by not making sure that they understand and can cope when life just isn't fair. And sometimes I feel like we do a pretty poor job of getting them ready for the disappointments that life holds. Because as much as I hope my kids never experience the disappointments that we all know are around the corner, I mean, the reality is they're going to experience them. I can't, and nobody can. So, but do what we can do. We had to have a conversation today about, my job is to help prepare you for life after high school, and there are things you're going to have to do after high school that you aren't going to enjoy, because, adulting sucks sometimes. And, teenagers, they don't believe you when you tell them adulting sucks, and having to grow up and do all this stuff is kind of for the birds some days. I'm always amused when they tell me they can't wait to grow up and they can't wait to be out of high school, and they're going to do all these things, and they're not going to let anybody tell them what they can do. And I'm like, oh, let me know how that goes for you guys. Because I wish that were the truth, but somebody is always the boss, and it's rarely you. And even if you're the boss, it doesn't always go your way either. So, and we all have to follow rules. You don't always like the rules, but that is life. So, they don't always like that. But what are you going to do? That's kind of what I tell them. Such is life. And they think that, they're going to go off, and some of them are college bound, some of them are not, and they all have grand plans. And I just hope that they all get where they want to go without too many road bumps. I mean, I'm realistic. They're going to be road bumps. I try and teach them to be realistic, but I mean, I'm all for go for your dreams and try, but let's look at the realities. That's one of the lessons I think I'm going to be teaching to my math class. So I'm teaching a senior math class, and I think one of the assignments, it's going to be a project. We're actually going to start it tomorrow. I don't know that yet, but I am going to start them off by having them look up their profession of choice. When they graduate high school, what do they want to do when they're all done? What is the profession they want? And then I'm going to make them find out how many years of college or trade school does that require, and how much is all that training going to require, and how are you paying for that training, and then what's your salary for that job, And we're gonna kind of do some life planning, and I mean, I'm focusing more on the budget aspect because it is for a math class, but we are, you know, they're learning about taxes and interest rates and all this stuff, and you know, this is abstract stuff and everybody wants to learn it, but the reality is most of this stuff has been in math classes for years, but you don't really think about it when you're learning it. When I was talking to the kids today, they're like, we've learned these formulas. We've learned these topics. We've done this. I'm like, good. So this should be easy. So let's make this something that's more applicable. And I think I'm going to have them like really sit down and think about some of this stuff. You know, my favorite one to point out is kiddos who want to be marine biologists. Okay. How much school do you need to be a marine biologist? What are the job prospects? So, you know, what's the job field like? How much do they get paid? Where do you have to live? All this stuff that, you know, the kiddos don't think about. I think I'm going to have them work on and incorporate the math. One of the kids asked me if they could learn about investing. And I'm like, sure. So let's incorporate that into this project. This is how much money you're getting. How much does all this stuff cost? How much do you have left to invest? And, you know, just the practical realities of what does stuff really cost and how does this work into a budget. And, you know, I always love when the kids want a $50,000 car, or my favorite is I'm going to buy the $300,000 car, and what are you going to do? I'm going to be a YouTube star. I don't know that they make enough to afford those cars. I can tell you as a teacher, I definitely don't make that much money. And I think maybe we need to be a little bit more practical. But it doesn't hurt for them to set goals, but they need to be somewhat realistic, right? So I think we're going to work on that, and I think I'm going to have them start next week, or tomorrow, by, you know, putting pen to paper. What do you want to do? How much college or training does that require? And how much student loans are you going to have? How much are those going to cost you to pay off? How rude. My battery died. And I don't think this one has much charge left. So we are hopefully going to finish this stem. But if not, we will work on it tomorrow or at some other point this week. And tomorrow is actually game night with my husband, so I don't think I will be doing any video recording. And the weekend I am going to have to get all house chores done that didn't get done this week because, yeah, between doctor's appointments and school, I didn't have time. And then I also have to make sure that I actually have everything ready for Monday. Nothing makes a week more stressful than not being ready for the week, and that is not my jam. I would rather spend some time on the weekend making sure I am ready. Than having to panic and try and get everything done Monday morning. It's not fun. I have never been that person. I have always been the teacher who is prepared. I usually have everything ready before I leave work on Friday, but I am not quite that prepared yet, and I don't think it's going to happen. So there's just a few too many I don't knows right now, and I don't know that we are going to have the answers to the I don't knows before the end of the day tomorrow. So as long as I have a general plan and have some activities for the kids to do, because it's one thing to do team building activities and other things the first 2 days of school when everything's a little crazy. It's another thing if it takes longer than that. I want to get into content, and I teach science. There is more than enough content for every class to be stupidly busy. So we'll see how that goes. So let's see what tomorrow brings. Hopefully I have some time to actually get some work done. I will at least have the morning, because all I have to do first thing in the morning is get my agenda done. And that's just simply filling out an agenda for the day for each class. That isn't too bad. I just copy the day before's agenda, clean it up, and fill it out again. So that's easy enough. So I'll do that, and then I have to put papers in folders. I need to set up more folders because I had kiddos change around and students move around, and one of the things next week will be to make permanent tags for folders. But that's next week's problem. I'm not doing it this week, and I've already told the kids I'm not doing it this week. I have in the past, and it gets a lot to have to keep changing folders as kids move around. Now it's a small school, so it's not nearly as much work as I've had in other schools, but given the crazy of this year, it is not worth sitting there and doing it for this year. So, yep, I'm not gonna worry about it. I'll do it next week. I might even pull in some of the kids to help do it. All right. Since my camera is gonna die here pretty soon, I think I am going to stop there. I just have, I think these 3 leaves go with this, and then they look different for this flower, and that flower is different from that flower, and then these 2 flowers are the same. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with the way that's looking. Again, not my best ever, but hey, I am enjoying it, and that's the important part. So thank you for joining me. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment below telling me what your most memorable first day of school was. And excuse me, I will talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.